Welcome. Today we're going to tackle a wheel bearing on this 2010 Camry. It has 139,000 miles or 223,000 kilometers. It has a little bit of a bearing noise that becomes noticeable around 110k or 70 miles an hour. Here's the noise. Listen to this noise. That is a worn out bearing. Let's fix it. Prior to raising the vehicle, I'm loosening the lug nuts. I frequently use a pipe extension to make the job a little easier. With the vehicle lifted, I use a 21mm socket to remove the lug nuts.
With the wheel removed, the first thing we're going to do is remove the disc brake caliper. And starting with this bolt right there. There's two, one there and one below it.
This is a 14mm socket.
Okay, one more. Here is the second bolt right there. I can't see it, but the camera can, so I'm going to tackle that one. Yeah, try the other way around. Okay. Ratchet on that. That's tight. There she goes. All right. This should slide off now. Just going to place that right there so there's no weight on the hydraulic line. Excellent. With the wheel removed and the brake caliper removed, you can really hear this bearing and how it's worn out. That's got to come off. So next thing to remove is this, and Toyota provides a couple of little holes here to thread into, so I can thread bolts in there to pull this off. Also, if you can see this right here, this is a little rubber plug. You remove that, and actually you can adjust the emergency brakes with the shoes on the inside of this. They actually seem pretty loose because this is spinning freely minus the bad bearing. So I'm not going to touch that right now, but I will have to be careful that when I reinstall this, I know the position of this, because behind this there's a little tiny gear that you can hit with a screwdriver to adjust the emergency brakes. So for now I'm leaving that alone, and I'm going to put in a couple nuts here, a couple bolts here to thread it out and hopefully pop this loose.
Adding a little bit of penetrating oil to loosen things up, and then a little bit of lithium grease to the M8 extraction threads. An M8 bolt will thread into these holes.
Cool, it's coming off.
So now I am removing the adjuster plug. I want to take just a little bit of tension off the brakes.
Come on. Come on. There we go.
On the 2010 Camry, the adjuster wheel is right at the very bottom. So a couple of comments or lessons learned here. A trouble light is not the light to use to look into this hole. The light is too large and it's in the way. You need a pen light. The second item I wanted to mention is at this point I did not know that the parking brake had broken loose or become partially disassembled inside the hub. I didn't find this out until later. I'm assuming rust would have been the culprit. But because this happened, the adjuster wheel was not located where it was supposed to be. I spent some time looking for the adjuster before giving up on it and pulling the hub off with some friction. Listen carefully. You'll hear brake parts fall out.
Oh, I think that's busted to shit. We'll have to fix that. Okay, I had a heck of a time getting that off. We will find out what I got to fix now. The adjuster for the emergency brake is located right at the bottom here. And I can almost see it here. But what I found was the emergency brake was also seized, so it's broken apart. So I actually have to fix the emergency brake as well now. So I'm going to continue working on removing this bearing, and then I'll come back and I'll repair the damage to the emergency brake system. Yeah, I can see the spring in there. That won't be too hard to fix. That bearing is bad. Here we go. 4 bolts to remove. Appear to be 14 millimeter. I'm going to put a little bit of a leverage on there. There we go. There's one. Got to find all 4. Now that one looks like the emergency brakes are in the way. Yeah, I got to push that back. Get clearance. Come on. There we go. There we go. Okay. That's only 4. I mean, that's all 4. So, it should just tap loose. I'll spray a little bit of penetrating oil in there. There. All right. Now I've got to get that electrical cable disconnected from the back, and it appears to be just completely like rusted on there. Holy lightning, that looks crappy. Let's get a camera in there. Look at this connection right here. Wow. I got to get that unplugged. There's not much play there. I may have to go around the back and do that first. There is something there. I can get another screwdriver in there. I think there's an outer shell on there. It appears to be an outer shell. That comes off. There we go. All right, so that comes apart. All right, now what? That's one part of it. The shield looks like it's coming off, which is good. Nope. Got it. Wow. Okay. And it looks like I did not damage it. That is quite the connector system here. Let's see if we can get a better look at that. Yeah, I'll bring the camera up here and get a better look at it. There's a little cover plate here, and on this side, you slip the screwdriver inside there and push against it to release this tab.
A little more penetrating oil to assist in disassembly. Now I'm using an air chisel here. It's not needed. It might save you some time with the hammer just by loosening things up.
Well, let's let that soak in. I'm going to let that soak for a bit. Just a couple more taps and let her soak overnight. Oh, got it. Wow, that was a pain in the butt. Lots of rusty stuff here to fix and replace, but doable.
Here's the old bearing next to the new one. I'm taking a close look here to make sure I've purchased the correct part. Looks to be correct. Now here I am measuring the length of the parking brake cable that resides inside the hub assembly. I wanted to do this prior to disassembly in case it is adjustable. It is not. You do not need to take this measurement. These two M6 bolts both sheared off. They will need to be drilled out and then the broken pieces extracted.
There we go. Okay.
Here I'm disconnecting the parking brake cable. It's not difficult, just cumbersome. 3 hands would be better than 2. Essentially, I'm holding the spring back to slide the cable out of the groove, releasing the cable head.
Okay, let's get a new one of those.
Here's the old backing plate next to the new one. The old backing plate was actually fine, but the dust shield had rusted off. Now, if this was a $400 part, I would have repaired the dust shield, either with a little bit of welding or some scrap aluminum and rivets. But the part was $70, so I just bought it. So now I'm drilling out the seized M6 bolts in the parking brake bracket. In the end, I couldn't remove them without damaging the threads, so I drilled them out and I'll attach with lock washers and nuts instead. Now here I'm using the bearing bolts to temporarily hold the backing plate in place while I mount the parking brake assembly. These bolts will be removed later when it's time to install the bearing. Here I'm just adding a little grease to reduce friction at key locations.
This, I betcha, this might go like this. And then the spring down on top of that, just guessing. And then this sucker down on top of that. What do you think of them apples?
Okay, so now I start making mistakes. To be fair, I didn't get to see how it was assembled because it had come apart inside the hub. So there's lots of gray matter in use here while I'm trying to figure out where all the parts go and to see if I'm missing any parts. So I had the basic assembly figured out, but I mounted the shoe in the wrong hole.
Like this. And then twist it. That's totally cool.
And wrong.
I think that's it.
Nope, it's not. This small bolt and washer I pulled off the old backing plate. It is needed to secure the 2 springs. This I knew as I disassembled it. This piece had fallen free, so I didn't get a chance to see exactly how it fits, but it really only fits one way.
All right, that's looking pretty good. Huh. Wonder if this is supposed to go through here. I gotta go sort that out. I think this might be in the wrong spot. Might need to line up through this slot. I have this wrong. I need to take this out. The light right there. Yeah. That's how that goes. Okay. So this goes like this and locks into that hole. I think I'm right. All right, so that is better.
I was fighting with this second retainer for a few minutes until I had discovered that earlier it had been slightly damaged.
Woo. Take a look at that again. Oh, this is damaged. Well, let's fix that. This is damaged. So this has got to go through here. Now, I've been fighting with it for a few minutes. And it physically doesn't go through.
I gently tapped a flat blade screwdriver through the slotted opening to widen it slightly.
Spring. Yeah, which way is it facing? Straight up and down? So like that. All right. Come on. I think I'm close. Got it. That's in. Got to put the bearing in. Let's see how that goes. Oh, that's got to go like that.
So this is a point worth discussing. I installed the parking brake parts first, followed by the bearing. This makes it a little more difficult to install the bearing. However, I much prefer this method, as installing the parking brake parts after the bearing is significantly more difficult. My 2 cents.
Okay. Look over here again. Okay, I can see that one now. Try this one. Let's get a torque wrench on there. Whew.
I used 59 foot-pounds of torque. I'm not saying that's the correct amount. I'm saying that's what I used.
Uh-oh. How do I get that out of there? Okay, there's the adjuster wheel. All right, let's see if we can get that hook back on there. I wonder if I should hook up the. I think I should hook up the ABS or the ABS speed sensor first. Let's do that first. There we go. There, and there we go. That's on there.
It was a little bit tight, so I recentered and adjusted it just slightly.
2, 3. Okay. There we go. Ooh, that was a lot of work. Okay. Ugh.
Well, that turned out okay. I mean, a few more problems than I'd signed up for, but pretty straightforward. Hey, thanks for watching.